So in the morning, this is still in Mark chapter 1, when the whole city came together. That just, that you want this to happen nowadays so badly, because the city needs to come together. Man, the cities aren't coming together for anything except protest now. Wouldn't it be nice if the whole city came together because Jesus is healing the sick? Wouldn't that be a great change? I don't even care if the news media ignored it. It would just be so awesome to have people come together for good news, for something positive. And it says in the morning, this is verse 35, having risen a long while before daylight, he went out, departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed. And Simon and those who were with him searched for him. When they found him, they said, everyone is looking for you. Everyone's looking for you. Well, why were they looking for him? Because he'd healed the whole town. And now everyone's looking for him. Man, what an aid. I've been in towns where no one was looking for me. I know what that's like. But what a change when everyone's looking for him. Verse 38, and he said to them, let us go into the next towns, that I may preach there also, because for this purpose I've come forth. So he continues the same pattern. He says, we got to go somewhere else, and I'm going to preach. Well, guess what else he's going to do? He's going to do miracles. And guess what else is going to happen? Another group of multitudes is going to gather together to get with Jesus, to be close to Jesus. And in the process, they're going to hear what he has to say. And it confirms that in verse 39, he was preaching in their synagogues throughout all Galilee and casting out demons. So when we talk about casting out demons and healing the sick, it's really the same thing. It's just getting people delivered from whatever they're bound by, getting people free physically by the power of God. And so this pattern continued, and it worked in other cities as well. Then in Mark chapter 2, that was one. Let's go to Mark chapter 2, and we'll start in verse 2. It says, immediately many gathered together. What happened? He came back to Capernaum, and many gathered together. There was no longer room to receive them, not even near the door. So here, these three items that are present in every single case. Many gathered together. So there's the multitudes. Now what's going to happen? Well, he preached the word to them. There's the message. And really, the point of gathering the multitudes together is to preach the message. Right now, we're preaching the message. There's just not multitudes listening to it. So it's going to take the other part of this recipe to make that happen, and that's healing. And so in this situation, they all came together. He preached, and there was this guy who was lame. And so Jesus looked at him in verse 11. Here comes the miracle. So you had the multitudes, the message, now the miracle. He said, I say to you, arise, take up your bed, and go to your house. Immediately he arose and took up his bed and went out in the presence of them all, so that they were all amazed and glorified God, saying, we never saw anything like this. Well, you know what that's going to do? That's going to draw more people. And notice they didn't say, that was the most amazing message we've ever heard. Some of us, me included, have been in the church for so long. I really do appreciate a great message. I love to hear the Word of God preached. I love to hear a great point made. I love illustrations. I enjoy good preaching and teaching. And I would go a long way, and I would sit for a long time and pay a lot of money to hear that, and to go to churches, services, and seminars to hear a great message. But you have to realize that, some of us have been out of the world for a long time. That's just not where they are. They don't want to come hear a good message. They don't want to come sit in a service or stand in line to get into a building or sit in a seat and listen to a message. That's not where their interest is. And so I say it like this, and we're going to cover this more as we get to deeper into this subject, but if you're going to catch fish, you don't use the bait you like. You have to use the bait they like. And the world's just not interested in our great messages. Now I am. In fact, I don't need to see another miracle to get excited about God, or to believe that there is a God, or to give my life to Jesus any more than I already have. Miracles do not impact me like they do someone who doesn't believe, because I already know there's a God. I know Him. My fate is sealed. I'm going to heaven. God doesn't have to prove anything to me. We have a different relationship now. I depend on Him. I talk to Him. He talks to me. I obey Him, or I try to, and try to fulfill His will. And we're way beyond having to see a sign or a wonder to get my attention. And most of you are like that. Most of us who are in the church are like that. But we want to reach people beyond us. Messages don't matter to them. They think we're out of our mind anyway. I mean, you could take your best sermon, your favorite sermon of all time, and play it to the world, and they'll just shake their head and walk away. They may go to sleep in the middle of the greatest message that's ever been, because messages are not what they're attracted to in that state, but a miracle, a healing, a sign, a wonder, the demonstration of God's power is something that no human can resist. I mean, they may criticize it or whatever, but I'm telling you, by and large, this is the bait that, I don't know a lot about fishing, and my fishing goes like this. I go fish for about 10 minutes, and if I don't get a bite, I do something else. So I'm not like a tried and true hardcore fisherman. But I have learned this about bass. There are certain times of the day when fish bite more. They're feeding. But bass, the game fish, all the tournaments, big tournaments, or bass fishermen are professional guys. If you throw something right in front of a bass, and I mean, you don't know where they are, but let's say you throw a lure, and it could be any number of different lures, but you throw a lure right in front of a bass, he cannot help himself.